When life gets busy, often your business is getting busy too, and when you're feeling overwhelmed and overworked, it can be really easy to revert to really just maintaining your business instead of having it grow because you think, I can only maintain right now, I don't have the energy to make it grow. And especially when summertime hits and you go on a vacation and you have even less time, it can be even more difficult to make the right decisions and to make your business grow. Today, I'm going to teach you how, even when you feel overwhelmed and overworked, you can still make your business grow with my own techniques that I'm using currently in my own business. Hello, and welcome to the Fast Forward Amy Show, the show where we talk about how you can live your life and business with simple strategies. I'm Fast Forward Amy, your host and coach, and I'll bring you a new episode every Tuesday. It's easy to feel like you can't move forward with your business, especially in summertime, especially when you are busy, when kids are home, when shops are closing, and when you feel like, you know what, the entire world is taking a break. I'll take a break with my business too. Now, my clients have heard me say this, but in Belgium, and I'm fairly certain this is not English saying, but we have this saying that summertime is cucumber time. Komkommertijd. And I told my clients recently that I don't really believe in that. And I think the biggest piece of evidence I have for that is that last year in this time frame during July and August with Team Fast Forward, we had a $1.1 million launch through July and August, the time frame where everyone is pretending like it does not exist and we all need to close down our work. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't take 2-month-long vacations. Granted, I am on vacation a lot, I travel a lot, but just know that none of your clients are gone for 2 months straight. Like maybe some, but not a lot. And probably neither are you. But I feel like there's this tendency to look at the summer period and be like, oh, I'll do that in September. And September becomes this magical month where we just pile to-dos on top of to-dos on top of to-dos and all of the ideas. And we feel like in September, we're gonna be this magical creature that does all of the things that we weren't doing before. It's not true. September is not a magical month. In reality, actually, the first 2 weeks of September are usually very hectic because a lot of businesses are opening up again, because kids go back to school and they need books and shoes and all of that. So September isn't always your best bet. Your best bet is almost always doing the important stuff now. Because there's this saying that says that maintaining is the same as going backwards. And I used to disagree, especially when I was feeling relatively burnt out and I was like, well, sometimes maintaining is all you can do, and it's really not true that you're going backwards. You're actually just like staying on top of things. And I do think that's true, but within maintaining, there's some type of negativity, because what I realized is sometimes it costs you equally as much energy to maintain something as it costs you to move something forward. And what I mean by that is often what weighs down on us is not actually doing the work. It's often because we need to make decisions that we can't make. Actually doing the work, after all, is almost always okay, because I don't know about you, but the day before you leave on a vacation, you realize often how much you can do in a day. And it might be stressful, but you can see that when there is a reward because you get to leave, or you get to go on a trip, or there's this big launch and you get a lot of results, the work is worth it. Now, the sad part about maintaining stuff in your business is that you're often being really busy, but you're not getting the results that make you happy because of your ambition. But when you're actually doing the proactive stuff, you might be working hard and doing the work and getting the results, which is much more rewarding than just being busy. So basically, I'm here to tell you, you can believe me or you can't, that maintaining is as hard, or maybe even harder, than actually growing your business. So today I want to look with you at what we can do to make sure that even in summertime, even when we are feeling overwhelmed and overworked, we can still make sure that your business is growing instead of maintaining. Deal? Okay, let's get started. But before we do that, I want to tell you that this is episode 87. And if you want to read the recap of the different steps I'm going to walk you through, you can do that through fastforwardamy.com/87. And by the way, if you didn't know, next week, we're launching the pre-order of our Business Freedom Elevator. I know this is super exciting. We have a really big wait list. There will only be 100 spots of 100 people that we are accepting at a €500 discount. So if you're not on our Business Freedom Elevator wait list yet, but you feel like you would love to get coached by me, you would love to join our program, make sure that you are one of the 100 first people, because the doors close once the first 100 people are in. The link to register on the waitlist is fosterwithamy.com/elevator. I personally cannot wait to open up the door. So if you're like, Amy, I have the time, I just don't know how to grow my business, or I need more clients, I need more money, I need to change my mindset, I need confidence in business, I don't know how to #business, then probably the elevator is for you. There is so much more than all of the things I just said, but yeah, go and check it out. I linked it up in the description of this episode. Next week, Wednesday, the game is on and we open our pre-order doors. It's always very exciting for us. Yeah, and I hope that you'll join, because I'd love to have you on board. Okay, so I was recently in this spot where I actually told my dad on the phone, I'm like, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm a little bit overworked, and there's so much to do and I don't know how to get it done. And it was like, well, then you probably have an issue with your priorities. And I realized it was the same thing. He also told me, like, you know what, Amy, your brain just works in a different way than most people's brains. You see things really quickly. You want to change things really quickly. And I was like, yeah, you're right. But in all honesty, some of the things that are on my list, I've been seeing for a year, or maybe even longer, and I'm just not even getting around to doing them. And I realized that I was kind of bullshitting myself in staying busy with some stuff and being like, oh, that one thing that actually only cost me like 30 to 60 minutes to already improve. Like, I was avoiding doing those things. I don't know why. Maybe a victim mindset, maybe like, I want someone else to do this, I shouldn't be doing this. But there were little pieces of work that would have gained me a lot of momentum, a lot of proactive, like, new results if I would just sat down and did them. And throughout the years, I've learned to organize, I've learned to optimize, I am learning to delegate and all of that stuff. But sometimes as we're doing that, we don't see that we're actually just staying busy instead of moving forward. So what I did is I looked at myself, like, in the mirror, not really, but kind of. I did that by actually grabbing my journal, and Monday mornings lately I've been not scheduling any meetings, because I know that after a busy weekend with a lot of stimuli with my family and seeing friends and the kids, I know that on Monday mornings I kind of need to, like, ease into the day. I actually don't want to see anyone on Monday morning, and I did a brain dump first. So I started journaling. Okay, hello, it's Monday. Hello, journal. I feel like this and that. And then inevitably, because my brain was so full with work stuff, I started writing down work stuff as well. What I did is I did this brain dump, and then I did this project and tasks. I'm like, all of the things that didn't have a spot in my task manager, that was just like floating around. I'm like, what comes first? Some things were tasks. Some things were like, oh, creating a landing page for someone, optimizing for something, optimizing emails, a bunch of stuff I don't necessarily need to do, things I was waiting for, things I didn't know what is the status on this project. I just dumped it all in there. Then I realized, you know what? The week is gonna pass anyway. Time will pass anyway. Might as well get the right shit done so we are moving forward and growing instead of just staying busy. Because I have this analogy, I tell this to my clients often, it's really ridiculous. But sometimes I'll be like, we tend to overpopulate our calendars with to-dos, but also stuff that doesn't really matter. Sometimes I used to put in my calendar like shower and get ready, and then like start work and drive somewhere. But you know what? If you smell really bad, you will take a shower. If you don't have any food in your house, you will manage to find food. Granted, it might not be best for your health or for your environment if you smell bad, but let's assume that your basic needs will be covered anyways when there is a need. Same goes for your business. Your email inbox will get managed anyways. The links will work anyways, and sometimes there will be a link that's not working. Some things will just get done regardless. But if you spend all of your focus and your energy on the busy stuff, then the proactive stuff won't get any space. Now, if I fill my calendar with a bunch of to-dos like responding to messages, and for me it's responding to messages in Slack. I do that anyways at this time, because otherwise my team would hate me, and also my business wouldn't be operating so smoothly. So in the end, I have some turnaround time scheduled in my calendar, But it will happen anyways because I will check in with them. But optimizing a launch strategy won't happen by accident. I do need to plan that in because I won't just be doing that every single day. I need to make active time for it. So what I realized was when I was writing down all of those tasks and projects, like, okay, there's a bunch of really important shit here. Gotta let go of perfectionism. It is okay that these things are here. It is okay that not everything is gonna get done immediately. And I just need to check in with like, where are we on those things and what are things where I am actually stuck with decisions, because the decisions might be why I'm not doing something or why I'm not delegating something. So I realized it was important for me to identify the top 3 things that were gonna move me forward in that week. And I was like, okay, so from now on every week, I'll circle the top 3 projects, write them down on a new page. And then you have a choice. You can choose to make those really big, but usually the really big things in your business can be done in a really simple way with minimum effort. I could say I need a new video for my sales page and I need a recording day with a makeup artist, with a videographer, with audio, light, all of those things. I need to get styled, the set needs to be styled, all of that stuff. Or I could just grab my phone and record that video in under 30 minutes, right? Already having a video on a page is better than having no video. So what I did is I looked at the top 3 projects that were gonna move the needle, that were gonna help me grow my business. And then I looked at how can I do this with a minimum effort. And the minimum effort has to do with your decisions and your iterations. So realizing that in order to do the work, that was Dutch, I have 2 sisters-in-law who are Australian, and they say that it's very, very Belgian to enter sentences with like, So I just heard myself doing it. Sometimes you actually need decisions so that you can do the work, because doing the work is not so bad. Doing the work is sometimes busy. And sometimes, you know what, you'll do the work while your boyfriend is watching soccer on your laptop, on the couch, and maybe you'll work until 11 p.m. one night. But if that means that you're actually growing your business, it's not so bad. It's doing the busy work that isn't going to get you any results that feels really bad. So the minimum effort has to do with you making the decisions. So if you're stuck with decisions, realize that you might be making too many decisions at once. So look at the project, look at the decisions you're missing. And for example, for us, we had the situation we were looking at, are we gonna do an extra sale of a new product? Yes or no? When are we gonna do that? And is that sale gonna be something free or something paid? What price is it gonna be? And we were doing like a bunch of different things at once. And I was in a meeting with Laura and Caroline. And we are like, guys, okay, we need to step back. First thing, this is our scenario. If we're gonna do something anyways, which of our ideas is the best idea? Okay, this is the best idea. When we run with that idea, should it be paid or free? Oh, it should be paid, okay. What is the price for this product? Okay, it should be that amount. We're not going high tier, we're doing low tier. Okay, if we're hosting that anyways, when is the best time to host this? And then when is the best time to launch this? So instead of being like, we just looked at the flow of those decisions. Because if you're so overwhelmed that you can't get out of that, you're never gonna like make sure that you have the decisions. And you know what? Once the decisions are there, it's relatively easy to move forward. And you can't be like, yeah, Amy, you say that because of your team and you have so many people helping you. I've done so many launches and sales on my own without a team. It's really more about the decisions than it's about doing the work, because the work will get done regardless once you have the decisions. So make sure you make the easy decisions, the clear decisions for yourself. And then you want to look at the minimum effort. Maybe the first time you'll launch the product, it will be live without course modules. Maybe you don't have a brand for your course. Maybe you will put out something and just do an intake call and decide your price on the spot. I don't know. But make sure you're just doing the minimum effort to get it done. And that will move your business forward. Doing something is almost always better than not doing something. And that is why I would say, even when you're feeling overworked and overwhelmed, you gotta do this, because my guess is you're feeling overworked and overwhelmed because you can't prioritize anymore. Because you see so many things that you feel like you're not making progress, you're not doing the work that matters, and you're just stuck. So we need to make sure that you know that you're doing the stuff that matters, so you feel satisfied about your work and that you can move your business forward. Have you ever noticed how when you're on a vacation, all of a sudden you seem to manage the busyness in your business in under an hour, for example, every morning? I run 2 businesses, and in the month of May, I was gone 3 out of the 4 weeks, and I worked I still worked an amount. Like, I checked in every morning for like an hour, and then I checked in later in the day. But the business was moving forward. That's because I have a team and I was someone new just started, and obviously it wasn't great that I just took off like that. But when I came home, I realized that a lot of the stuff I do on a daily basis just takes up more of my time when I'm home than it did when I was on vacation, because I didn't have other stuff I was doing. All of a sudden, I managed to get it done before breakfast, whereas here, when I'm home, I'll be like, I'll work out and I'll do breakfast and I'll have a phone call and then blah, 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 blah. And the busyness takes up much more space. So it's really difficult to be more productive when you allow for it to have a lot of space. When you put bigger building blocks there, like for example for me, being on a vacation and having to be done on time so I can go on a boat ride, that is a really great incentive for me to actually get the busy stuff done in a shorter time frame and to make the easy decisions fast. But when I have a lot of space, stuff will take up a lot of space. So what I'm telling you is, you're overwhelmed because you're lacking clarity. We need to create clarity. And when you have clarity of what's going to move your business forward and you spend time on that stuff, the other stuff will take care of itself. You might not believe me, but I do believe me because it worked for me. And I'm a high achieving person and a little bit of a perfectionist. So I am a little bit sad, I'm getting over it, that I allowed so much time for me to sabotage myself by procrastinating, by thinking that there wasn't any space to do the big stuff. There was space. I was just simply choosing to fill it up with busy stuff instead of the big building blocks of your growing business. So my recommendation for you, if you're like, okay, it's a busy time, I am overwhelmed, I am overworked. Okay, you need to focus and you need to know what's actually going to grow your business. When you're focused on growing, the maintaining will follow. When you're focused on maintaining, growing will not follow. You will just stay where you are. So every week, start with a brain dump. Write down everything. You can do this every day, by the way. Then in that, after you do that, write down all of the tasks and projects that are floating around and identify the top 3 projects that are going to grow your business, or like that are going to have the biggest exponential impact on your business, stuff that is going to make a huge impact. For example, writing that welcome sequence for your new subscribers, because you might be getting new subscribers, but you might not be warming them up, which is why they're not warm by the time you launch. That is going to have a huge effect. That's a really great example. Then you make sure that by the end of that week, you have got that set up, or at least you started working on it. So that might mean creating the outline for the emails and then writing the emails and then putting it in the system, instead of looking at it as this huge thing where you need to be writing the perfect emails with the perfect branding in your email service provider. It can be a lot simpler. Then you can give yourself a limited time frame to get that done. And you might say, okay, you know what? The minimum effort way of doing that email sequence is just creating one email, just black and white, no branding, and just already making sure it runs. Because otherwise maybe you'll end up like me and have spent 2 years on thinking you need to do that and have never done that. True story. Working on it as we speak. So yeah, it's always about doing the big stuff in a small way so it can get done. Almost always. It's just better to do it than to not do it. And I'm thinking, if I can give you a really good example of something, I think videos is a great example of this. I postponed creating Ask Amy videos for a really long time, whereas I could make them in 30 seconds because I have so many questions from my clients. And I'm like, I need this content plan, I need to do this big thing. But maybe I can also just make the decision to do it and do the work every Monday and make sure every Monday there's a video of me online. Once you break through the resistance, or actually you lean into it, it becomes a lot easier. So with little time, creating maximum results in your business, I think it's really important that you prioritize and really look at where you are spending your energy. You might be spending your energy in a bucket that is leaking, or you can spend your energy on building that mountain, building that cathedral that is your future business. You just gotta get started, okay? Good luck. This was episode 87, and I created something for you, actually. If you're like, well, Amy, I don't believe you. I just want more basic time management tips. I really want to get out of this clusterfuck that is my personal organization in my calendar. I created something for you. It is my priced time management checklist. You can go and grab that through the link in the description or by going to fastforwardamy.com/time checklist. I made that time checklist when I was still working by myself and I didn't have any people on my team, and I still use those principles to this day, where I have actually 2 businesses with 2 full-time teams working for me. So I highly recommend you go and grab that, and I'll see you next week, Tuesday, for a new podcast episode. But I gotta tell you, don't forget, TikTok, the clock is ticking. Next week, Wednesday, we are opening the pre-order doors of the Business Freedom Elevator. I'm not gonna say a whole lot about it. I think you know by now what it is. If you don't, make sure you are signed up on the wait list. fastforwardamy.com/elevator. I'm not advertising this a whole lot on socials because it's only the pre-order. We only have 100 spots. We're opening at noon sharp on the 28th. So make sure you're there by being on the wait list, and that way you will get an invite to be one of the first 100 people to join at a €500 discount. Talk to you next week, Tuesday, and have a happy day.